Hello everybody. Welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well, hope you're all doing fantastic, and that you're all having a great day. Don't forget to subscribe to my other channel called Money Rules. There's a link in the description below. I also just woke up, so you know what that means. Sometimes I don't speak English good and it might get a bit confusing, but we'll get there together. And without any further ado, let's jump right into it. This is a bit of a blast from the past, and I'll try and explain in like the easiest way possible why this is actually even becoming a thing and also re-emerging in news in the cryptocurrency space. You'll get it. It's not difficult to understand, but you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. Financial institutions are foraying into Bitcoin-backed lending as Bitcoin adoption gains steam among investment managers and fiat interest rates tighten. Bitcoin-backed lending platform Ledn told Cointelegraph. Ledn, L-E-D-N, is supposed to be lend. Years ago, there was, for some reason, I don't understand why people did it. You know, the word hodl is meant to be hold. It's literally someone, I'm not joking, someone misspelled it, and then someone put the words hold on for dear life as if that was supposed to be what hodl meant. So, years ago, is similar to when the New York Stock Exchange got into the crypto space and they created Bakkt, B-A-K-K-T. It's meant to be Bitcoin is backed by this, but they spelled it childish and almost like weird to kind of seem like cool and hip for the cryptocurrency space. So I think Ledn came from, I think it's from the Winklevoss twins when they were trying to create a lending platform. So Ledn is just a misspelling of lend because they kept on thinking that everyone just needed like words that didn't exist to be used. Some of the marketing teams for a lot of things, I sit there and I wonder like why they do what they do. Like someone got paid for that. Someone made money off of being like, let's spell it backed with 2 Ks. That seems amazing. Or even like, should we just misspell lend and then lend? So anyway, the idea was and is re-emerging. I don't know if you saw the interview that a lot of people were not happy with Michael Saylor around 2 or 3 weeks ago. He basically gave an interview, or he was on TV. He was talking into something, and he basically stated that Bitcoin does nothing, which got people really mad because Bitcoin, in essence, isn't meant to do anything. This doesn't even come from the side of like a Bitcoin maximalist. Bitcoin is meant to be a form of payment. Bitcoin is meant to be an issuance or a way out of debt and never having to get into debt. Bitcoin is what it is, and what you have only exists on chain. The reason for blockchain and why it's so revolutionary is that you can't fake it. You can't tell someone that you have 4.5 Bitcoin when you have 0.21, because they can look on chain, they can verify. That's literally the point of it. So we've constantly had other narratives for Bitcoin. Bitcoin, years ago, for those of you who weren't here, there were a lot of people who were trying to start the narrative that Bitcoin was a clock, or like a form of keeping time. I'm not joking. You can maybe find old articles of it. The idea was that mathematically, every 4 years, this happens for Bitcoin. Mathematically, once a month, this happens to Bitcoin. So they were like, no, Bitcoin's a clock. And then that got rapidly overtaken by the idea of Bitcoin being a payment system, which is what it is. Because in the beginning, people didn't know how to frame it or how to literally sell it to people. That then became the idea of like digital gold, when people realized that Bitcoin was like slow as a chain, only 3 to 5 transactions per second. And therefore, governments would be using Bitcoin, or people would, but the idea was governments would be buying up Bitcoin as they are now, in case you forgot, and we would be using that to back any new fiat currencies that they created. So this government would say we have 200,000 Bitcoin, and therefore we can only issue X amount of paper money based off of the amount of Bitcoin that we have. That morphed into something else in 2018, 2019, when people were like, well, we have the Lightning Network. If the Lightning Network grows and becomes more robust, therefore people will be using Bitcoin as an actual payment method. This is why we're seeing this year. I don't know if you've seen it. A lot of the news, twice a month has been news about the Lightning Network and companies getting into it and trying to have other banks, holding it and also allowing their customers to use it, or also these like Visa and debit card companies. Remember we had a couple of them, you can now use your crypto with this company. They issue you a card and therefore you can use it and tap it. And it's so we're getting this Bitcoin as a payment system once again, which is all that Bitcoin is meant to be. So a discussion back in 2019 began to pop up with Ledin about Bitcoin doing more. That's what the Michael Saylor interview, or a part of it, he was talking about. He basically said something along the lines of if I have $100 million in Bitcoin and then something so and so happens, I still only have $100 million in Bitcoin. His discussion was Bitcoin, besides being a payment network, doesn't get me a return. People are, and I mean people who are very wealthy as well, have this I don't want to use the term toxic mindset, but everything doesn't have to be a commodity. Everything doesn't have to give you a return besides the normal return. So Bitcoin can go from $16,000 to 70,000 US dollars, and still the mindset will be, well, Bitcoin's not doing enough. Bitcoin needs to do more. Bitcoin needs to literally produce and sweat and make income for me besides the normal money that's actually coming from it. So a lot of proposals have been put forth over the years to make Bitcoin, literally give a return. Do you remember, and I said this was a month ago for those of you who were here and were not here, the idea of staking Bitcoin has emerged. Why? Because institutions are getting in the space and they're calling Bitcoin boring. Keeping in mind, Bitcoin is not for them. Bitcoin is for us. Bitcoin is to get us away from the legacy system so we don't have to worry about interest rates rising and falling and mortgages and all these, getting into debt. Bitcoin is meant to be the exact opposite of that, so we can, 8 billion people, pushing aside the hyper millionaires and billionaires, can live in a world where deflation happens, where prices go down and we are incentivized to save our money so that we have something to actually pass on to the next generation. When I tell you that the original idea of Bitcoin has been obliterated, when I keep talking about decentralization and, Bitcoin for the people, for the world, I know sometimes I might sound crazy, but this is the idea of it. If we integrate Bitcoin into the old system, like we're currently seeing with BlackRock and Fidelity, the point of Bitcoin is nonsense then. There's no reason for Bitcoin because we haven't left the old system. So saying that Bitcoin should, listen, it is a good selling point when you say that Bitcoin, if you can stake it in its own network and have all these other protocols and things like that, you'll be able to get a return from Bitcoin monthly, daily, yearly, who knows what the time frame will be. Most things in crypto for a return tend to be daily or weekly. It'll get new people in the market, but it also then, wraps the tentacles of the old system around Bitcoin once again. So how do you go a step further? You have to start issuing debt against Bitcoin. And then once again, we go full circle, back in a loop to the idea of what Bitcoin is and what Bitcoin is for. And now people are like, well, we need to find some other way to make money through Bitcoin. I can only, this isn't a joke, I can only imagine if Satoshi is still around, he must be going cross-eyed every 3.5 minutes, because everything that constantly gets proposed for Bitcoin is the exact opposite of what he wanted for this market. Institutional investors have poured billions of dollars into spot Bitcoin ETFs since January, when the US regulators cleared them for trading. It says major institutions are now going beyond ETFs to focus on Bitcoin-backed lending. This was said by Ledin. Ledin processed $1.16 billion in cryptocurrency loans in the first half of this year, largely on behalf of financial institutions. The company added that lenders typically earn upwards of 10% APY on their money. So I'm going to tell you what the next step is. I don't know if you remember, maybe, I don't want to say a decade ago, but it's definitely 2016, 2017 kind of feelings in the air. A lot of financial YouTubers back then used to also, when they talked about like passive income sources, I don't know if you remember, a lot of them used to discuss being like a private lender. There were, maybe, I'm sure there are, like, first of all, don't touch them. It's more of because they're also incredibly risky. They're not risk free. The idea was you would lend your money to institutions or to whoever needed it. And basically, there was no guarantee per se that you would get your money back. But the idea was that if they did pay money back to you, you would get a return. So I assume in the next 3 to 5 years, this will probably get quite big as like an actual idea for what to do like with crypto or what to do with Bitcoin. So what in 3 to 5 years, I expect at least Coinbase to start allowing people or like encouraging people to like lend their crypto. The idea, see, the part of the reason, not why I dislike Coinbase, but the old system is because of debt. Remember, I mentioned the reason why people got so happy with the idea of interest rates falling. It's because it's easier then to get into debt, to take out debt, to worry about credit card debt. You need to take out debt? Well, guess what? The interest rate just dropped by 0.5%. Go on, take that debt out. Don't even worry about what's going to happen in the future. Companies believe that lowering the interest rate will allow other people to want to take out mortgages and be in debt for the next 30 years. When interest rates are high, we saw all these companies that were popping up talking about buy now, pay later. You want to pay on layaway? You want to put it away for a 24, 36-month period? We'll even give you a 5-year period. Just keep paying us over and over and over. That's also the reason, if you haven't noticed, for all the streaming platforms, you know how they keep raising their prices. It's basically to get you on the hook. Yeah, no, ours is only $3 per month. Isn't that amazing? It's now $4.99. Don't worry. It's still relatively inexpensive. It's $15.99 now, but you know, you're getting 4K, and look at all the other shows that you're getting. It's $19.99 now. It's not that bad. And when you add them all up, you're basically paying for cable all over again. It's meant to be a continuous slow drip forever until greed ends up setting in and they end up wanting more. This wasn't incredibly popular news, but I did find it in a couple of places. I think this is kind of one of the things that people tend to look over. What's always popular is price. Price predictions. Where's money going? How much prices will they go higher? And all these other kinds of things. This is the things that we were warned about. If you looked at any of I know a lot of people don't care about decentralization, and I know people don't care about other people. I got that. But if you look at the early discussions from Andreas Antonopoulos and like the earlier things that Satoshi was talking about, he was like, okay, cool. You know, Bitcoin's going to become a monetary system. Do you want to know what, the believed idea as to why Satoshi stepped away from crypto? In earlier days when he was writing on Reddit, or they were writing on Reddit, we don't know if it's a group of people. Basically, he was in contact with a number of people to try and like spread the word of Bitcoin and get people like into it. And somebody was like, okay, cool, this sounds great. I'm going to go to the government. He was like, what? And one person he was talking to literally said that they were going to talk to the government and tell them about this new fantastic, amazing thing that the government should also get in on. And he was like, no, like we're supposed to be staying away from them so that we have our own new monetary system. And then he disappeared, like literally like stopped talking online. So like I said, I can't imagine what he or they are thinking about at this point when we're basically wrapped up in the old system again. Like, what do you think will happen to Bitcoin if it reaches $1 million per coin? It's going to be further wrapped. Why do you think people were so excited about Bitcoin options from BlackRock? Why do you think Coinbase is literally trying to make their own Bitcoin? For those of you who missed it, they're making CBBTC. It's a wrapped Bitcoin where you can take Bitcoin and put it into their base chain to have another form of Bitcoin that runs through Coinbase. Yeah, the institutions are definitely here. They definitely have control. And as I've mentioned before, I know it's not for everyone, but if you can, stay out of debt. It is not for you. My family members have all been in debt, are in debt, and it is not a good way to live. So, yeah, that's the get ready for Bitcoin lending. It will be another way to make money passively from Bitcoin, but it also then ensnares other people into the legacy system. Yeah. Let's move on. This news had no business, zero business being this popular. Every time, and I don't know if it's just clever marketing. I promise you I do not know. Institutions, as I said, have gotten into the space. They have kind of taken their mask off, if you will, when trying to pretend that they actually care about decentralization or the cryptocurrency space. They've made that abundantly clear when all of them announced how amazing and awesome and incredible stable coins are. Not even were, are. Basically, the idea is that the institutions got into the space, the PayPals, the Visas, the MasterCards, the BlackRocks, the Fidelities, the you name it, got into the space and basically all declared that Bitcoin was the greatest thing in the entire world and everyone needs to use it. And now we've kind of gotten to the point where they're lightly only catering to large businesses and institutions. When I tell you this news was popular, it is not an overstatement. I assure you, this was so popular and I still don't understand why. PayPal is set to allow US merchants to purchase, hold, and sell cryptocurrency directly through their PayPal business accounts. That's the news. PayPal announced this move as part of its strategy to increase cryptocurrency's role in everyday transactions for millions of businesses in the US. At launch, the service will not be available for businesses in New York. That's an old joke. I mean, maybe not a joke, actually. Anything that gets launched in the States always excludes New York. It used to always be New York and Alaska, and I still don't know why. Like, I understand regulations, but we can only assume that the other 49 states also have regulations as well, right? Why is New York always the last one? Like, it ends up happening like 6 months later, and everyone's like, oh, cool, that's awesome. That's amazing. So, amazing, whatever. Since 2020, PayPal and its subsidiary Venmo have allowed consumers to buy, sell, and hold crypto like Bitcoin, and I think it's only Bitcoin and Ether, if I remember correctly. Now the company is extending these capabilities to business account holders, reflecting increased demand from merchants who want the same access to digital assets as consumers. If we could get away from this stupidity, I think my happiness would go up around 3 notches. Companies and people. I assumed many moons ago that this was like the company's pretending. No, people keep acting as if this is a thing as well. So, I don't know if you know, this really weird thing popped up in around 2011, 2012. It's called the cryptocurrency exchange. Has anyone heard of it? Maybe not. It's brand new. And what this thing did was allow anyone to actually buy crypto. Weird, right? Yeah, like, I mean, over 12 or 13 years ago, something like that. And on this crypto exchange, once again, don't know if you've heard of it, you were allowed to, make a username and a password, and you could buy crypto at will. We got more of them over the last couple of years, and more of them popped up, and regulations and stuff like that. So institutions have always been able to buy crypto. How many news stories have we had about businesses buying Bitcoin? MicroStrategy got it from somewhere. What's that Asian company? The one in Japan. PayPal pretending that businesses like today are now officially able to buy Bitcoin and Ether through them is so incredibly weird. I know it just always especially when the news is popular, that's what usually ends up getting me, because it's like I'm not really understanding why. PayPal got into the space and declared how amazing Bitcoin was. They later added Ethereum. They said that they would be launching in other places around the world, and they still haven't. I'm almost certain that PayPal US is the only place where you can actually get Bitcoin and Ether. It's not in any other country, as far as I can recollect. But yeah, anyone who wanted crypto already has access to it. Remember how I said that 98 times before when it came to Robinhood? For those of you who missed those videos, a lot of people keep pretending that Coinbase, Kraken, Gemini, Binance, HTX, formerly Huobi, don't exist, and that they had to wait for Robinhood to list everything. I sincerely, really don't understand. PayPal business accounts will be able to transfer cryptocurrencies to external wallets. I hope so. What? Allowing merchants to send and receive digital tokens on... Oh, I get it now. Years ago, it was speculated that PayPal didn't actually hold crypto. This speculation came from Robinhood. Do any of you remember? No, because people freaking love Robinhood for no reason. I don't understand why. You remember when they froze people's accounts and weren't allowing people to trade Dogecoin and trade other stocks and stuff like that, but people love them again? Okay, that's cool. So in the early days when Robinhood first announced that you could hold crypto on their platform and all these other things like that, if I remember correctly, I think people were sending their crypto to Robinhood, on the app, on the computer. And then when they were trying to withdraw it, there was no withdraw option. There was only a sell option, indicating that they weren't actually holding crypto as a company. You were sending them your crypto, and they were giving you numbers on a screen. And then when you tried to cash out of those numbers on a screen, they gave you back US dollars, which were inflating. So there was a whole, if I remember, I think that's exactly what was going on. And then they had a whole thing where they had a celebration. We now have crypto. We are backed by crypto. And it's so you didn't have that before. So I guess that's why PayPal's saying it here, because the indication or the speculation was years ago that PayPal also wasn't actually holding any crypto. That's part of the still rampant speculation that's going on between Coinbase and BlackRock. A lot of people, and I think it's because of prices. If I can, step back a bit, I think it's because of the pricing situation. There were a lot of speculators that apparently the reason why prices weren't moving over the summer is because that BlackRock allegedly from Coinbase didn't actually have any crypto. They were simply handing over what people call paper crypto, or paper Bitcoin, if you will. None of that was substantiated, and apparently we've heard from BlackRock and Coinbase saying it's not true. And I will say, I think it's simply because this has happened so many times in the cryptocurrency space. I don't think that these people are tinfoil hatters We've dealt with this multiple times. A lot of companies kept on getting into the crypto. The thing I just told you about with Robinhood, it happened over a dozen times. All these companies would get into the space and people try to withdraw their coins. Not even the problem with a lot of these companies also literally going belly up and taking everyone's money, but also people realizing that they didn't have the actual coins on the platform. So people are skeptical. You have to be transparent. That's what I was saying before about Binance. Binance, especially when Changpeng Zhao was the CEO first, he was incredibly transparent. That's why I didn't understand why people hated Binance or were propagandized so much to talk negatively about Binance. They were the only company who was transparent. They're the only company who started and is still doing proof of reserves to tell us how much crypto that they have on their platform. Like, you can verify how much they have. Every time, you know how like a lot of times we'll get like whale movement news, and someone moved $250 million worth of Bitcoin from an address, and people would get scared. People would get scared that those coins were going to be sold off. Changpeng Zhao would tweet immediately and tell people, hey, don't worry, we moved those coins from this address to that address for safekeeping. We're actually going to move it twice again. We're going to split it in half to put it into extra wallets for safekeeping. Don't even worry about it. Other crypto exchanges don't do that. No one else does that. So the most transparent company that we had, everyone hated on them for no apparent reason. When these other companies pop in and you fall over yourself for PayPal and Visa and Robinhood, who give us nothing. They tell us nothing. Who are all developing stable coins to get away from the cryptocurrency market. Anywho, this was one of, and I mean, it's been a long time since we've had news this popular. I don't understand why it was on every single website, every single platform, everywhere that I looked was talking about this. It's not the most exciting thing in the world, and people were framing it as this is when the institutions get in. Have you not been paying attention to the news that's been popping up for the 5 years? The institutions are here. This makes me even question if anyone was even asking PayPal for this. I feel like they launched it trying to actually get the companies. Everyone's working with Coinbase. Everyone's working with BlackRock. What company was like, oh, thank the Lord, like I can finally use crypto on my PayPal business account. I've been wanting to. We've had. What are the other things? There's two of them that have the same name. The one that Jack Dorsey created, and the other guy in Latin America who also created one. The guy who cried when El Salvador made Bitcoin legal tender. They each have an app where that's been around for 5, 6, 7 years that you can download, and like people can like spend crypto at your store through the Lightning network on their app, and you get crypto and or cash for it depending on what you want. It was already a thing. What was that thing called? Carbadars, Kirsch, I don't remember. It didn't have a weird name, but both of the things had a similar like spelling of it. Car. Anyway, that's the PayPal news. Why was this so popular? I sincerely don't get it. Okie dokie. That's going to do it for this video. I do hope that you've all enjoyed. I do hope you all are having a great day, morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be. I do hope it's absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching, listening, liking, commenting, and supporting. And I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.